Okay, welcome everyone. The tech world, it just moves so fast, doesn't it? It feels like a full-time job trying to keep up. So that's why we're here. We want to cut
Yeah.
through all that noise, pull out the important stuff and get you up to speed fast. Today, we're doing a deep dive into something generating a lot of buzz already, the iPhone 17 lineup. We've sifted through a whole stack of fresh reports, leaks too, pulling together insights from solid sources like Bloomberg's Mark Gurman, Mac Rumors, Hindustan Times, 9 to 5 Mac, Cinco Dias, India Times, Tom's Guide. Quite a few, actually.
Yeah, quite the list. And our mission today really is to unpack what everyone's expecting from the iPhone 17. We'll try to pin down when it might actually arrive, and maybe explore why this specific release feels, well, a bit different, maybe more significant than usual. The goal is to give you a solid understanding pretty quickly and thoroughly.
Great. So let's jump right in with the question everyone asks first. When? When can we actually expect to see these new iPhones? Well, our sources, and Mark Gurman at Bloomberg is usually pretty reliable on this, they're pointing towards Apple planning the announcement, the keynote, sometime in the week of September 8th to 12th, 2025. All the signs, really, they point towards September 9th or maybe the 10th for the big reveal. And Apple, they have their patterns, right? So following those, pre-orders usually kick off the Friday right after the event. So that would land us, yeah, squarely on September 12th, 2025. And then if you want to actually, hold one in your hands, in-store availability typically follows a week after that. So Friday, September 19th, 2025, it's quite consistent.
It really is. And what's fascinating here, I think, is just how much detail starts to leak out or get reported so far in advance. Apple's launch schedule, I mean, it's become incredibly predictable over the years, hasn't it? Which, allows for this kind of early detailed speculation. It's almost like clockwork.
Yeah, absolutely. Clockwork. And speaking of what's coming, let's talk about the lineup. It's not just one new iPhone we're expecting. The reports suggest a whole family. The iPhone 17, an iPhone 17 Air, the iPhone 17 Pro, and the 17 Pro Max. That Air model, that's the new wrinkle, isn't it?
It absolutely is. It raises an important question right away. Like, what's the strategy? Why introduce an Air model now? What gap does it fill?
Good question. Well, let's start with the standard iPhone 17 first. Reports suggest a pretty significant display upgrade here, a larger 6.3-inch LTPO OLED screen. And with 120 hertz ProMotion, that's up from the current 6.1-inch. LTPO OLED, for those wondering, helps with power efficiency, and ProMotion means that really smooth scrolling. Under the hood, we're hearing about the new A19 chip, 8 gigs of RAM, and some decent camera improvements too. 48 megapixel main, 12 megapixel ultra wide, and a 24 megapixel front camera. Plus, the usual design tweaks, maybe slimmer bezels, a refined dynamic island UI, that's the little cutout at the top.
Okay, so standard model gets a nice bump, but then there's this Air. Given those specs for the standard, you really have to ask, what's the angle with this ultra slim one? Why now?
Exactly, because the iPhone 17 Air, it sounds like its main feature, its big differentiator, is this ultra-thin design. We're talking maybe 5 to 6 millimeters thick. That's incredibly thin. And it's paired with about a 6.6-inch screen, so slightly larger than the standard. Specs-wise, it seems similar to the standard. A19 chip, 8 gigabyte RAM, but maybe just a 48 MP single rear camera and a 24 MP front camera.
Right, but here's where it gets really interesting, strategically. Two big things are rumored for the Air. First, possibly no physical SIM tray, eSIM only. That's a move towards fully digital SIMs. And second, and this is potentially huge, the possibility of an Apple-designed 5G modem debuting in this model. I mean, that connects directly to the bigger picture of Apple taking more and more control over its core components, vertical integration.
Yeah, that Apple design modem, that feels like a really big long-term play for them. Okay, so that's the Air. But for the power users, the ones who want absolutely everything, the iPhone 17 Pro and Pro Max, the flagships, their displays are also expected to grow slightly. 6.3 inches for the Pro and around 6.9 inches for the Pro Max. Big screen. Both obviously getting that 120 hertz ProMotion, probably with even brighter HDR. Performance-wise, they step it up. The A19 Pro chip and a pretty hefty 12 gigabytes of RAM. And battery life, always a focus on the Pro Max that's rumored to get close to 5,000 mAh, which is quite large.
And the cameras on the Pro models, well, they always seem to push things forward, don't they? We're hearing about telephoto options with periscope zoom. That's the tech using mirrors for much longer optical zoom without making the phone thicker. Also, mechanical aperture, maybe. That gives photographers more control over depth of field and light intake. And 8K video support. I mean, what stands out to you when you hear about these kinds of pro-level camera features on a phone? Where do you see this going?
It really feels like they're trying to make the phone the only camera you need, even for, semi-pro work. It's blurring those lines. Okay, moving beyond the core specs for a minute, let's touch on aesthetics, materials, connectivity. Color options, the rumors are pretty standard. Standard iPhone 17, maybe in black, silver, blue, green, purple. The Air, maybe a slightly different palette. Black, blue, gold, silver, perhaps. And materials. This is interesting. The iPhone 17 Pro models report suggest they might shift back to mixed glass and aluminum frames, which hints that titanium, which they introduced more recently, might be phased out or maybe just reserved for one model.
Yeah, that potential shift away from titanium.
Mm-hmm.
If we connect this to the bigger picture, it could be about cost, right? Or maybe they found aluminum and glass combinations that are durable enough. Or perhaps it's just a design choice, wanting a different feel or look. It's always interesting to track how Apple evolves its materials.
Definitely. Across the board, though, we expect continued support for those great 120 hertz LTPO OLED displays, potentially always on features for more models too.
Yeah.
We should probably see MagSafe get some improvements, maybe Qi 2.2 support for faster wireless charging, that's the newer standard, and another big connectivity upgrade. New Wi-Fi 7 support. That means faster speeds, lower latency, really future-proofing things, and as you mentioned, the really significant move towards the first Apple design Wi-Fi and 5G modem chips, potentially starting with that Air model.
Right. And the importance of Apple designing its own modems. Look, it really can't be overstated. It's not just about cutting out Qualcomm or other suppliers, so that's part of it. It's strategic control. It lets Apple deeply integrate the modem with the A-series chip, with iOS, with the antennas, potentially unlocking performance, battery life, maybe even features that you just can't get with off-the-shelf parts. It's about owning that whole stack, for the smoothest possible experience.
Makes sense. Okay, the elephant in the room, price. What's all this going to cost? Obviously, these are early estimates, leaks, but they're starting to surface. The standard iPhone 17 might start around, say, $799. In India, that's roughly $79,900. The new iPhone 17 Air, maybe around $899, so $89,900 there. Then the premium tier, iPhone 17 Pro, looking like $999 plus, and the big one, the iPhone 17 Pro Max, probably $1,099 and up. In India, that could range from $1,039,900 up to maybe $1,064,900, depending on storage.
Yeah, those numbers, they feel pretty much in line with Apple's usual premium pricing strategy, don't they? The interesting bit is that Air model slotting in slightly above the base model. It suggests Apple sees a market for that ultra-slim design, maybe people willing to pay a bit extra for the form factor, even without all the pro camera bells and whistles. It diversifies the lineup while keeping those clear tiers.
Right. So, okay, let's sort of wrap up this deep dive. Apple looks set to continue its familiar September launch tradition in fall 2025. No big surprise there. But this isn't just another minor update, is it? It feels like a more significant evolution is coming, especially with that really intriguing ultra-slim iPhone 17 Air joining the family. The signals maybe a new direction, or at least new branch for them.
Exactly. I mean, we're seeing potential upgrades pretty much everywhere you look. Display tech, the chips inside, those advanced cameras, even the build materials, and crucially, connectivity with those Apple-designed modems. Apple's clearly aiming to set some new benchmarks. You hear whispers about more AI features, maybe even hints of modular design down the line, plus that cutting-edge connectivity. The sources definitely paint a picture suggesting this could be, well, one of Apple's most ambitious iPhone launches in a while.
Okay, so here's something for you, our listener, to think about. Considering this strong push towards AI, the possibility of new designs like the Air, maybe even modularity concepts eventually, and Apple doubling down on its own custom silicon. What do you think this new lineup suggests about where smartphones are headed overall? And maybe more personally, how might these kinds of advancements change your day-to-day interaction with your phone in the coming years? Something to mull over.